Hey everyone, it's Manny from Hoops and Hotpot here today with a video on nexting, the new trend in pick and roll defense in the NBA. This video is part of our XOXO series, a short and simple explanation of the X's and O's of the NBA. Now the pick and roll is the bread and butter of basketball offense, and so much of defensive game planning is about throwing different coverages at a team that tries to run pick and roll action. You're probably familiar with switching, where players simply switch their assignments to minimize the window the ball handler has to attack holes in the defense. Drop coverage is popular too, where the big will sink under the screen to protect the rim and trust the perimeter defender to stick on his man. But drop coverage comes with a risk, as ball handlers are getting way better at shooting the pull-up jumper. If you aren't meeting a shooter at the screen, he could just pop a three in your face completely uncontested. And if that's Steph Curry, James Harden or Trae Young, well, you've got an issue. So nexting is the new wrinkle that some teams have been experimenting with to ensure that their rim protectors are able to stay low in the paint while also putting pressure on the ball handler to ensure they don't get any easy shots. I describe it as a stunting defense where the next defender on the perimeter is responsible for attacking the ball. So, step 1 involves the next defender on the perimeter jumping the ball handler as soon as they come around the screen, taking away the three and creating pressure. Step 2 has the nexter immediately jump the first passing lane available, which logically should be their man who's spacing the floor on the 3-point line. Step 3 requires the initial defender, who was screened off, to go around the screen and harass the ball handler from behind. You can see the Jazz doing this a lot against Harden in their series a few years ago. Lastly, step 4 allows the big to stay under his man and focus on protecting the rim rather than getting switched onto a ball handler on the perimeter. Here's an earlier example of the Heat nexting against the Warriors. Steph Curry runs a pick and roll with Kevon Looney, and because he was a bit cold from 3, decides to set this pick towards the inside of the court, and you can see here instead of going for a pull-up, Steph wants to take it inside. Now watch Kyle Lowry here, he's actually going to stunt at the ball while Caleb Martin goes underneath the screen, and Omer Yurtseven is able to stay underneath Looney, taking away the lob and being able to protect the rim in any case. Now because Kyle Lowry immediately recovers to Wiggins, he's able to take away that pass as well, and all of this forces Curry into a tough miss at the rim. Here's the Heat now running next against the Blazers, who have seen this coverage a few times now. Nurkic comes up to screen for Simons, but look at Duncan Robinson, he's not even looking at Nasir Little, and his presence in the driving lane is actually enough to force Simons into this tough 3, because he doesn't see the pass to Little available because of how close Robinson is playing both guys, and that's really the strength of nexting right there. It takes away 2 possible plays and puts a lot of immediate pressure on the ball handler, and Lowry is able to harass this 3, which is a really tough one, and it does miss. As a challenge, you can try going back to the clips I played at the start of the video and try to figure out for yourself how nexting allowed the Raptors to get defensive stops against the Suns. I'll post the answers in the comments, but for now I wanted to show a clip that contains a great response from the Warriors to the nexting coverage that the Heat are trying to run against them. So what you'll see here is that nexting is an inherently reactive coverage. You can't run it if there's no next defender available on the perimeter. So I like this adjustment from the Warriors where they empty the corner and set the screen towards the sideline instead. That puts Herro and Yurtseven into a pure 2-on-2, and because Yurtseven needs to stay in drop coverage, he's got this easy elbow jumper for Jordan Poole. And this clip is just pure shooting brilliance from Michael Bridges, who, despite the nexting coverage that he faces, is able to rise above the defense, and he's long enough to get that off. Although, if I'm the Raptors, I'm willing to live with that. That's a quick introduction to nexting, an emerging trend in NBA defense. If you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.